The kitchen before Christmas. It always starts the same way. Outside, the snow is doing that quiet thing, falling slow, like it knows it's not supposed to interrupt anyone. The porch light is on, the kind with the yellow glow, and somewhere down the street you can hear a car door slam and someone laughing. Inside the house, the kitchen is warm, not just warm like a heater is on, but warm like life is happening here. The oven hums softly. A radio in the corner plays an old Christmas song, the kind nobody remembers the singer of, but everybody knows the words. And standing at the counter is Mom, or Grandma, or Aunt Linda. Because in American homes, Christmas baking doesn't belong to one person. It belongs to the family. And what most people don't realize is this. Americans don't just bake recipes at Christmas. They bake tricks, little habits, kitchen shortcuts, passed down secrets that never make it into cookbooks. So today, you're not just learning baking tips. You're stepping into the kitchen. Trick 1. They bake by smell, not by time. Here's the first thing Americans learn, usually the hard way. The timer lies. Every oven is different. Every kitchen breathes differently in winter. So instead of trusting the clock, they trust their nose. Mom will say, "Smell that? That's almost ready." Not when it smells good, when it smells right. Cookies aren't pulled out at 12 minutes because the recipe said so. They come out when the kitchen smells like butter just turning nutty, sugar just starting to caramelize. This is why Christmas cookies taste different from batch to batch. They're not machine perfect. They're human. Trick 2. Room temperature everything. And yes, it matters. Butter, eggs, milk, they all sit on the counter long before baking starts. American bakers don't rush this part. Cold ingredients don't blend. They fight. And Christmas baking is about harmony. Grandma will literally slap your hand if you try to mix cold butter. "Let it wake up first," she says. Room temperature ingredients make dough smoother, cookies softer, cakes taller. This single habit separates dry holiday desserts from melt-in-your-mouth ones. Trick 3. Double the vanilla always. Here's a secret nobody writes down. Whatever the recipe says for vanilla, Americans double it at Christmas. Why? Because vanilla is comfort. It smells like childhood. It smells like December. Extra vanilla doesn't make desserts sweeter. It makes them warmer, deeper, familiar. That's why Christmas kitchens smell different from the rest of the year. Trick 4. They use brown sugar like it's gold. White sugar is for everyday baking. Christmas? That's brown sugar season. Brown sugar holds moisture. It brings molasses warmth. It keeps cookies chewy even days later. Important when you're baking ahead for guests. Chocolate chip cookies, gingerbread, spice cakes. Americans lean hard on brown sugar in December because dry cookies are unforgivable at Christmas. Trick 5. They chill cookie dough, even when they're impatient. Kids hate this trick. Adults swear by it. Cookie dough goes into the fridge, sometimes overnight, sometimes just an hour, but never skipped. Cold dough spreads slower. It keeps cookies thick, soft inside, crisp on the edges. Mom will say, "Good things wait." And Christmas baking teaches patience better than any lecture ever could. Trick 6. Flour is never scooped, always spooned. This one sounds small, but it ruins more Christmas desserts than anything else. Americans don't scoop flour straight from the bag. They spoon it into the measuring cup and level it off. Why? Because packed flour equals dry cake. Dry cake equals awkward silence at the table. Nobody wants that. Trick 7. They bake extra on purpose. This is cultural. American Christmas baking assumes mistakes, burnt edges, dropped trays, kids stealing cookies before they cool, so they bake more than needed. Always. Extra cookies go to neighbors, to mailmen, to teachers. To the lonely guy down the street who waves but never talks much, Christmas baking is generosity disguised as dessert. Trick 8. Salt goes into sweet things, no exceptions. A pinch of salt in cookies, in brownies, in caramel, everywhere. Americans understand something important. Sweetness needs contrast. Salt sharpens flavor. It makes chocolate deeper, vanilla louder, butter richer, and sometimes right before baking they sprinkle flaky salt on top, because grown-up Christmas deserves grown-up flavors. Trick 9. They bake in batches, not all at once. Christmas kitchens are crowded, kids running, doors opening, music playing, so Americans bake in waves. First batch sets the standard, second batch adjusts, third batch is perfect. They learn as they go, they taste, they tweak. Christmas baking is not about efficiency, it's about rhythm. Trick 10. Spices are bloomed, not dumped. Cinnamon, nutmeg, clove, ginger. Americans don't just throw spices in dry, they bloom them in warm butter or milk first. Heat wakes spices up. That's why Christmas desserts smell like memories instead of dust. Trick 11. They use dark pans for cookies, light pans for cakes. This one is pure experience. Dark pans crisp cookies faster. Light pans bake cakes evenly. It's not fancy. It's learned through ruined desserts and quiet regret. But once you know it, you never forget. Trick 12. They let desserts rest? Yes, even cookies. Hot desserts lie. Fresh out of the oven cookies seem soft, but structure sets as they cool. Cakes taste better after resting. Flavors settle, crumbs relax. So Americans wait, and Christmas teaches that waiting is part of joy. Trick 13. Imperfection is part of the aesthetic. Crooked cookies, uneven icing, cracked tops, nobody cares. Actually, people prefer it. Perfect desserts feel store-bought. Imperfect ones feel loved. That's why American Christmas baking looks homemade on purpose. Trick 14. Old recipes are never fixed. If Grandma's pie is dry, it stays dry. If Aunt Carol's cake is too sweet, it stays too sweet. Because these recipes aren't food, they're memory. Americans protect tradition fiercely at Christmas. Change feels like betrayal. Trick 15. The kitchen stays open all day. This is the final trick, and the most important. The kitchen never closes on Christmas. Someone is always sneaking in, tasting, talking, cleaning, laughing. Baking becomes the excuse for togetherness, and that's the real secret. When the oven finally turns off. By the end of the day, the counters are messy. There's flour in places flour shouldn't be. The sink is full. The radio's still playing. But the house smells like Christmas. And years later, nobody remembers the exact recipe. They remember the feeling.